Hello and welcome everybody as we have loaded onto Summoner's Rift for week 2 of Academy Rush. Yeah, the week where we got a 6-way tie for first place coming into this day 2 of Academy. Now, I know today will settle a lot of that, but man, what a way to start things off. Cloud9 at the bottom, 0-3 after winning last split. Not having the start that they wanted. It's CLG, the last place team in this clump at the top. We got CLG Academy taking on Dignitas Academy. A lot of stories to follow here, a lot that we can catch up on, but before we get into that, we just want to catch everybody up on these team compositions, what's going on the Rift, how we expect this all to play out. CLG 2-1 right now in their record, have an interesting draft. They're on the red side. They have picked up one win on the red side so far this season, so in terms of side favor, I don't think this is too bad for them, but I'm just confused as to what this composition is supposed to do, really. They have a lot of kiteback potential, a lot of ability to play around team fights with big AoE abilities and Aphelios damage, but I just don't know how they're going to start fights when they want to go for it. It's really going to be up to Deus on this Wukong, but hey, they do have that triple teleport composition, so they can make plays. Same with the triple teleport over on Dignitas Academy's side. I'm liking this. It's pretty bread and butter. They did something beautiful in the pick ban where they first picked Syndra on blue side when Aphelios was still up. CLG took the bait. I heavily favor this matchup for Syndra on the bot lane, especially when you pair it with the Thresh. Aphelios really needs to get one item, two items before he can actually start to do those crazy things that we see the Aphelios do. But if you have a lane like this that can shut that down, that becomes a lot harder to do. As we're settling into the day now, CLG Academy, again, better start than they had last split. You love to see it for this team, for this young squad, and they have no more excuses. Last time around in the spring, we saw them having visa issues with wind. They had to start stick safe for the first few weeks, but they don't have that excuse anymore. This is the same 5 players that should be on the roster throughout the whole split, starting off together. It's been a slightly rocky start, though. While they are 2-1, none of their wins have looked particularly clean when it comes to things like objective control, things like early game shot calling. And here already on the bot side, things not going too well. The death sentence on the wind and a first blood picked up early for Dignitas Academy. I don't know what that was from Wind. You had the flash available. You just walk up in front of your wave and allow JJ to hit you with that hook, but Dignitas Academy will happily take that one and walk away with that first blood. And Dignitas Academy, speaking of, I mean, they just get that first blood, but they've had a rough start to their split so far, sitting 1-2. They just picked up their first win against FlyQuest last night. That was a huge win, as FlyQuest was 2-0 at the time. But this is not the start we expected from 5 players that have been in LCS. We meme about Academy being a retirement home. Well, you got to ask, how's retirement going for Dignitas Academy right now? They have not had an explosive start. A win here against CLG would mean so much for them because we have a huge clump at the top, and you don't want to fall too far behind, even if it's early on in the season. Now CLG making an early play on the top side for themselves. They lost that bot lane, but maybe they can find something onto Lorlo. The pillar goes out. It's just going to be a flash for right now. Lorlo gets a good trade against Deus, who's stuck in that minion wave, but either way, just going to be the summoner spell at the end of the day. Dignitas Academy with Dardoch as the starting jungler. Known for aggressive playstyle. Played Lee Sin in the first 2 games of the split, but both of those are losses. And now we see a different style from Dignitas Academy. They're putting Dardoch on scaling champs. He played Trundle last night. He's playing Kindred now. Things that take a little longer to warm up and can't have as much agency as like a Lee Sin or say a Nidalee would in the early game. So different look from Dignitas Academy. It got them their first win last night. Maybe it can do that again here, as so far the jungle gap hasn't been too big. He's just been able to free farm, as CLG getting a really good trade onto the bot side. JJ might need to be in trouble. Oh, flash away. Gets the shield from the lantern, but it's not going to be enough. Wind does pick up another kill, and since Asta's out of mana, cannot capitalize on Wind's low health bar. This is not where I expected to see action, everybody. I thought we would be seeing it around the top side of the map more so than the bottom half, but CLG putting up a fight despite having the losing matchup. Asta not having that mana feels really bad. That's the problem with the Syndra early on, especially on the bot lane. You have the support that can help you wave clear, but so does the other team, so they're going to be pushing in much harder than a mid laner typically would. You're going to have to be throwing out those spells, and since they use so much to get that first blood as well, that means Asta has to back here at some point. Still sticking around in lane, trying to grab every last bit of this CS as CLG happily take their back. First blood still over to Dignitas Academy. But CLG Academy with that kill pretty much tie up the gold differential A lot of that having to do with the top lane as well. Deus has a beautifully frozen wave up there on the top half of the map after getting Lorlo's flash. Lorlo not teleporting back up, so has that available for a later gank. Let's see if they can actually find anything for that, because again, I hate to highlight stats like this, but it's stats like this that I think need to be said. CLG are averaging 0.5 dragons in their wins. Let that sink in for a bit. They've gotten 1 dragon in their 2 wins. In their loss, they got 2. So they're actually better without dragons. They beat 2 Dragon Soul teams so far this split, and seem to be more powerful the less objectives they pick up for themselves on the bottom half of the map. So that is a strength that Dignitas can play around. Dignitas didn't actually need the Dragon Soul to close out the game against FlyQuest last night. They were able to just do it off of a Baron push, but that is a strategy that Dignitas should be looking at here. How can you punish this bot lane? Theoretically, they should have this push pretty much at all times in the game, which means that Dardoch always has a lane advantage to play around, and that's what we're seeing right now. Dignitas, they're positioning aggressively, pushing that wave in, and Wind and Phil can't walk up and contest this, which means that they can just go over, roam up to the dragon, and Dignitas can claim this first free objective. CLG will see it because of that ward, but doesn't mean that they can stop it. Also, Tuesday going for that back means that, yeah, there's no threat from the mid lane. Well played by Dardoch, good game sense. Focusing on those early objectives that CLG is just so willing to look past. It's crazy to think about how powerful those Dragon Souls are and how, non-interested CLG Academy is in picking those up early on. But hey, I mean, if you got a strategy that works for you, just lean all into that. If that strategy involves no objectives, sure, why not? Give it a try. Again, this is a new squad, a CLG that had a really rough split last time around, but have a chance to redeem themselves. Maybe it's not with an invade like this, Gragas. Doesn't get the blue buff. It is smited away by Dardoch, and Lorlo's in the neighborhood, so they get Flash out of the Trundle. Gragas has to disengage and run away from that one, but Dardoch, he has a pushed mid lane as well. He knows that there's no flash on Gragas. I don't know if this is safe to go for this red buff right now. Smite's available. He's going to have to smite seal this away. Oh, he actually doesn't even use the smite. Now he's got Deus roaming down. This could just be a flashback from Dardoch, but he doesn't have an opportunity with the Wukong coming up from the top lane. Now Deus finds himself in a rough situation, but Tuesday joined in as well. Dignitas Academy don't want any of this gas, and CLG will win the fight with the collapse of top and mid. Beautiful play from CLG Academy. I was concerned thinking, Gragas, I don't know if you can go for this, but the team was there. That was the important factor. They were ready and willing to leave their lanes, leave their CS to come back up Gragas. Dardoch was there alone. Phoenix walked up at first. I was like, okay, this makes sense. Phoenix is nearby. They can just, bully away Gragas and take this. But when Phoenix walked back to lane, that was the big mistake. He wasn't there right away. Dardoch gets deleted immediately because of Deus' CC that he brings in with the Wukong. And then it was a 2v3. Dignitas Academy didn't have a chance of actually closing that one out. So CLG with very strong rotations from the solo laners actually find themselves with a gold lead now. Pretty sizable one, 1.4k early on, and that's spread across Summoner's Rift. Sometimes you like to funnel all your gold onto one player, but hey, it's also great when everybody individually has a lead up over their opponent. Speaking of, yeah, Deus gets the push onto Lorlo. Now Lorlo is able to freeze, but still 20 CS up, and that wave should be bouncing back with this next wave coming up here. So CLG Academy, they can also claim this Rift Herald with their push on the mid lane. And first neutral objective claimed by CLG Academy in this game. I'm going to be keeping track. I know it might be a little petty, but I just want to keep track of how many dragons they get, how many Rift Heralds they get. They're good at Barons, I will say. CLG Academy, that is the objective that they love to pick up and how they've been closing out most of their games. If anyone remembers that 53-minute game against Immortals to start off the season, multiple Elder Dragons, multiple Barons taken. But CLG hopefully won't have to go that late this time around if they can close this one out. Dignitas Academy have a great late scaling composition. So the timer's on CLG to make something happen. If Dignitas Academy can hold out, get Phoenix online, get to that 2-3 item, Azir Power Spike plus Dardoch with all those passive jungle stacks, then they will have a great opportunity to come back from a deficit. So CLG need to keep the pressure up, and that's what they're doing right now. Gragas invading in the jungle, but this means that their bottom is exposed. There's 3 members of Dignitas Academy down there while Gragas is playing around with Lorlo on the top side. I don't even know if you win this 1v1, Gragas. Subjugate ultimate's available, but doesn't want to go for it. And at the end of the day, Dardoch does back away from the bottom half, so it's just going to be a few turret plays going over. I thought we might see a dive down there with the use of Kindred ultimate. Lambs despite so strong at turret dives, but didn't want to go for it. I think CLG played that one pretty well without having to burn any summoners either. And now they're answering back on the top side. Free plates for Deus and Frogis. They're going to take 2 on their own. This Rift Herald will take down 2 more. They might just go for the full turret, and they do. That's a huge wave. Beautiful from CLG Academy because Dignitas can't make anything happen on the bot side, but just as I say it, they're going to try it. They try and get onto Phil and win. Flash out of the Aphelios carry. The Summoner spell is down just for the trade of the Ignite and the Thresh Cage. Interesting that Asta didn't try and throw out that ultimate. I think Wind might have been low enough that they could have actually gone for that all-in kill, but Phil with the Great Unbreakable is able to mitigate a lot of that damage. But Dignitas Academy, again, just what I was saying a moment before, they're on a timer. They cannot fall too far behind. CLG's on a timer if they can't let this game go too long, but if they can keep amassing these leads, Dignitas, they are in a rough spot because CLG have tools to make things happen with the lead that they currently have. I was questioning how do they play this composition earlier on, but now at this point of the game, once you have these power spikes, you already have an item completed on Tuesday mid. You almost have that Trinity Force completed on Deus top side. You're in a position where you can start to scrap around these objectives. You no longer have to just give up a dragon and trade for objectives elsewhere. This is CLG now being proactive with the dragon objective. They're getting here faster. There's no answer from Dignitas Academy, and CLG will just take that one for free. I think that's wise of Dig Academy to just give that one up. Even if they were in the area to contest it, they would have lost the wave topside. They don't have these item power spikes. Like, look how far behind Lorlo is compared to Deus right now. He's got boots and a Doran shield. Not really going to provide too much in these 5v5 team fights. And that's what CLG really wants to do. This is a very strong 5v5 team fight composition. Yes, Deus has the ability to win in a side lane, especially with his lead, but primarily what they're trying to do is group up and just use all their AoE, use all their abilities together. Deus getting a little cheeky with that top buff, but nothing comes of it. But look at Frogis with this flanker on the bottom side, teleport coming in as well from Deus, and they just blow up Asta immediately. Nothing to be done about that one. JJ flashes away, trying to juggle turret aggro. CLG, they do successfully get out of there safely, but now they got to worry about mid lane. Oh, Phoenix did not expect Deus, the Wukong teleport. He was walking back topside. He could just roam in here, get a free kill onto Phoenix. Dardoch trying to make it a trade, though. He jumps over the wall. I don't know if that was wise. You have Lamb's Respite, but you don't want to use it to save Deus, so Dardoch will disengage from that one. CLG, this is some proactive gameplay to see from the Academy squad, and this is their identity from Spring Split as well. I heard a lot of people talk about CLG Academy as a team that was hesitant to make plays, and I actually disagreed with that. In spring, I saw CLG Academy as a team that was willing to make plays, but they just didn't execute them correctly. They would go in and mistimed. You know, they wouldn't use their ultimates synced up in the same manner. But this time around, you know, we're not seeing as much of that sloppy play, and I love to see that from an Academy roster. 5 players that have not started in the LCS, taking on 5 ex-LCS players, and currently putting them through the ringer. This is a 4K gold lead at 13.5 minutes into the game. That's definitely the lead that you want with this composition. This game would be very, very hard to win if this was reversed. Now, Dignitas Academy, they got to be thinking, how do we come back? How do we get back into this game when our only kill is on the support? And it comes down to gold funneling. You got to get gold onto these members that will scale into the late game and provide the team fight damage. Because if CLG is going to be team fighting you around these dragons, around the Baron, you need to be able to answer that. So either getting a pick beforehand with the Syndra Thresh, or ideally having a Nazir that has a couple items so that you can actually show up when those team fights come around. And that means that Dignitas Academy need to hold this mid turret. If they lose that objective, boom, the whole map opens up for CLG, and they're in a fantastic position. So Dignitas Academy, I wouldn't be surprised to see them put more resources mid lane, dropping wards around, letting Lorlo roam down, having Dardoch hover around this area as well, because Phoenix needs every single wave he can get. And with the Rift Herald spawning in a few minutes here, I think CLG would be wise to, you know, realize that and go for that play. Get the Rift Herald, look to drop at mid, and break open the map a little more so they have some more freedom, more flexibility. Get Tuesday that push so he can join up with the rest of the team and provide that AoE damage that they want around these team fights. But so far, it seems like slow way to get there. Just waiting for these objectives. Now the Rift Herald has spawned and CLG immediately on it. On spawn, actually, and they'll also take down this bottom turret. So all turrets should be broken soon, but look at this Dignitas Academy. They're trying to make a play. I think Wind, he should see the teleport. It's actually a double TP. 5 members of Dignitas Academy come down to just give Wind a bad day, honestly. You're like, all right, we've seen the highlight plays from LEC. We know what a fellow can do about 4 champions. What if we said 5? But when you said that many people, you're losing elsewhere on the map. CLG easily take mid turret. They can get a huge push top lane as well as Deus gets that shove in. Frog is joining as well. This might be a 3 turret trade for a single Aphelios. Yeah, there we go. CLG get the top turret too. This map is wide open for CLG Academy. Dignitas, I like it for the memes, but I question it in practicality. Was it worth all 5 members just to get Wind? Maybe they were trying to bait out some teleports from CLG, but I mean, Tuesday didn't have it up with his Summoner Spellbook. Deus didn't have it up either, so CLG's only answer was to go elsewhere on the map, and that worked out very well for them. Next objective will be the Dragon here, and with a 5k gold lead, I can't imagine Dignitas actually contesting this. They're trying to get vision control around the area. Maybe pick somebody out from CLG as they're walking in to drop down their own vision, but because of that control ward that wasn't cleared right away, CLG knew, yeah, I mean, Dragon's not even up. We don't have to worry about it right now. We can just group up and walk in together. Yeah, send the tanks in first, send Phil in, send Fragus in, clear out the vision. Dignitas desperately looking for that pick. They got Thresh and Syndra nearby, but now look at Deus on the flank. The Wukong gets the knock-up and a flash away from Dardoch, trying to disengage from this fight. Lorlo's in as well, but Dardoch's in some trouble. Has to drop down that Lamser's fight, but his team is kited away because beautiful play from Tuesday. CLG Academy just rout Dignitas out of that fight. They'll claim the objective. Yeah, Dardoch zigged when he should have zagged. The rest of his team kites away topside. He tries to get away from the bot side, but without flash available, does not have an out there. And it's a very different CLG than we saw in those early games. I think they might have heard my criticism earlier on in the game. They're like, all right, we see you, Genghis. We'll raise you a 2-dragon game again. But honestly, this is just cursing them, right? The last game that they lost, they had 2 dragons. So maybe if they can get the 3rd, they'll get past that hurdle here. Looking hard fought for Dignitas Academy rather right now. They don't have the gold where they need it to be. They don't have any objective control right now outside of that early dragon, so it's going to be hard for them to find a way back. I liked the idea of what they were doing. Starve out the vision around that dragon, look for a pick. They had JJ and Asta over the wall. If the death sentence had landed on somebody like Tuesday or Wind, you know, maybe they can blow that member up. But even Tuesday's wise enough to take the barrier right now, thinking, yep, all they can do is burst me down. If they can't do that, there's not much else to the comp of Dignitas right now, with Phoenix only at 1 item. And yeah, these gold leads are ridiculous. 2k gold differential in the top lane, almost 2k in the mid lane as well. The solo laners showing up huge for CLG Academy. A full item differential between Tuesday and Phoenix right now. Whew. Oh boy. As well as that 5-stack Dark Seal. Wonder if he's ever going to get the Mejais. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the Mejais in these Academy games. CLG making their composition look a lot easier than it is. Again, I don't want to underhype how difficult this comp can be to pull off if you don't have a lead, if you're not able to find those plays early like they were. Only Dance having this hard engage. Tuesday can maybe find something too, but with the bot lane, I so heavily favor the Syndra Thresh. We saw that first blood coming through, but it didn't really amount to much. The kill was just traded back. And now CLG can just do things like this. With this gold lead that they've amassed, with this composition, they have a Braum, they have a Trundle, these beefy members that can just walk in, and Dignitas can't catch those. They can only catch onto these squishy carries, but they're busy taking turrets. I mean, Wind gets that mid turret essentially for free there. They even take away the Wolves, and now starving out all of Dignitas Academy's vision. CLG are just putting on a clinic right now. And this is what you want to see as an organization. You know, they've been together for a full split now. Wind did not have visa issues in the summer. This is their 5-man roster that has gotten used to each other, comfortable with each other, and can now make these early game compositions actually work. Trying to make the play onto this bottom turret, but Dignitas sent 4 members down there to answer. Just trying to keep these waves pushed out, try and get that CS where they can. Phoenix still in that mid lane, still trying to CS up. And they're also putting gold onto Asta, so it seems like Dignitas are highly valuing the AP damage that their team can bring. Which means, you know, itemization from CLG needs to be taken into account as well. Froggus opting more for armor right now. Has the Bramble vest. And also what seems to be a stopwatch and a Kindle gem. I'm curious what he's trying to build into with all that. I would imagine the stone plate eventually from the stopwatch, but the other two, I mean, I guess you just want the cooldown reduction. Kind of got a little bit of a garage sale going on, but honestly, you're far enough ahead, you can do it. They got the Executioner's Calling as well as the Grievous Wounds on 2 members that will definitely help shut down Lorlo and the healing that he'll provide. And as well the Trinity Force on Wukong, just all that burst damage. I was wondering what Deus's champion pool would look like. He's played Ornn the first 3 games of the split. I was like, are we in for a 4th Ornn game? Thankfully, Dignitas banned it, so we do get to see Deus does, in fact, play other champions. He's playing the Wukong right now, and actually the great effect, I mean, had constant push in the top lane, had the CS advantage the entire time as well, and now 3-0-2 as CLG start up the Baron. This is what happens when you starve out this vision, everybody. CLG put in the work, they did their homework ahead of time, made sure that there were no wards for Dignitas to actually approach with, and just a free Baron at 21.5 minutes into the game. How is Dignitas supposed to come back from this one? They don't have the tools right now. It's going to be a miracle catch, if that. Even Tuesday now walking around with the Banshee's Veil, so cannot catch the Orianna, cannot catch these beefy frontliners. How do you actually get onto Phil, or rather Wind, to shut down this 2-2-1 Ophelio? Stacking the crit items. Now maybe they found somebody here trying to jump in onto Tuesday, but yeah, you just can't get through the Banshee's Veil. Now over the wall goes Phoenix, trying to get something, can't even Shuriba shuffle. Just uses it to disengage. Jardok flashes away, but Wind flashes to follow up. CLG are about to take a clean sweep of a team fight. 5-0 with Baron-empowered minions. This is going to be the end of the game, and this is going to be a very different CLG Academy, averaging 53-minute win in their first, 32-minute win in their second, now closing out their 3rd win of the season in under 23 minutes. CLG Academy, congratulations, you're going 3-1. Absolute domination. That was ridiculous.